Got orange juice on my mouth. Okay. I'm not artist that is rapping in pink. Girl, I'm hoping to see justice before all face too black. What that dog? This dog literally, the moment I push live, started barking continuously. And I just know that y'all can hear it. That is irritating. Anyways, what it is, you guys, it is today, March the 20th. Yesterday was crazy. I went, yesterday really was the only day that I can take the kids to Universal. Spring break, I hadn't, I really didn't have time to take them. They wanted to go to Mardi Gras, and I wanted to do other things with them for their spring break. I did take them to the Strawberry Festival that Sunday that spring break started. Throughout the week, I thought I was going to get to take them somewhere, but I did not. Reason being, and why now I have to take them to Chuck E. Cheese. Girl, my nephew say I promise him, girl, I do not promise kids because kids do not let you break promises. So I said I'll try to, and so the whole week went by. Y'all know I work in a theme park, and we was getting work to life, like for real. So I didn't get to take them anywhere except for yesterday. I ended up taking them to Mardi Gras. So the day started out really with me staying up late after getting off of work and doing that live. The live where I was drawing and we were binge watching, well, binge listening to and reviewing the playlist that I have about C Murder, aka Corey Miller. I always say that backwards. Corey Miller, aka C Murders, hunger strike and wrongful conviction, and then also the playlist goes into my husband's wrongful conviction, and then at the bottom I do have a few videos where I reviewed the bottom of the page of the playlist. So that's my all overall wrongful conviction playlist. Because the wrongful conviction is not just about my husband. There's so many. I know there's a lot, and a lot of people, their stories will never be heard, never be heard. So we need to change things because it's too many falling through the cracks. Like, I work at a theme park. What if it was a roller coaster and it took off with maybe 15 patrons every time and came back with maybe 10 of them? Would y'all be okay with that? Or would y'all demand that that thing be shut down, rebuilt, and started over? Y'all probably would just want it shut down. You wouldn't even care if they started it over. Well, the justice system is snagging lives. Instead of just letting it be and letting these people keep falling off of this concurrent. So concurrency means that you are serving on every charge at the very same time. So I think the reason they really give you that many charges is if, like how the first one was turned over on a technicality, if you're able to turn so many over, you still have the conviction because you didn't overturn each and every charge, which Marcello does. You didn't overturn each and every charge, which Marcello's charges. This is a whole side note. I'm sorry. I'm justice tangent. I'm really gonna tell the story of Marcello, his case, and if you read the, is it gonna keep doing this? Okay, the charge. See if I move closer to the router, girl. This don't make no sense. The charge that has conviction against him to stand is the robbery. The robbery had to be. I'm sorry, it's so dark over here. The robbery had to be in place for any of the other charges to be able to stick. They could not charge him. The other charges could not stick without the robbery. And then because the monies did not line up. This is crazy. The monies did not line up. Y'all know that I tell y'all how the story went with Marcello, his alleged robbery of 60, I mean $80. Okay. So when even the judge was like, you can't charge him with robbery because the monies don't align. The money does not align. And he was like almost sarcastic. He's like, what are y'all doing? You can't charge him with robbery because the money does not align. That's just like if you had a car, but someone said you stole a different car. Okay, you have a car, but that doesn't mean that's the car that you stole. The money does not align. You cannot charge him with robbery. But the problem, which I do want to illustrate this, the problem was, whoa, that all the other charges were built on top of the robbery charge for Marcello. So for you to be able to even charge with the other ones, you have to have the robbery. So when the judge was trying to say you cannot charge him with robbery, the state's whole case was finna collapse. It's like Jenga. You pulled out that one that was holding it all up, it's finna crash, right? But the state lawyer went on to say, but Judge, he tried to rob them. He tried. He tried. And the judge says, okay, you can pick it up as attempted robbery. So even on the technicality, if anybody ever opens Marcello's case, I've been trying to pry that thing open. The other charges, it didn't say that they can stand on attempted robbery. Marcello must be charged with robbery for the other charges to stand. He was charged with attempted robbery. And what they did, instead of dropping both, because it was two guys that alleged that Marcello robbed them of the 60, I mean 80, which means it doesn't make sense to me because even if one accidentally said 60, how would the other one just know to accidentally say 60 and they say that they mean 80? But what they did, they overturned one of the guys' robbery charge to attempted robbery. And they left the other guy as robbery. Even though the money still didn't line up, they left that one robbery charge because the other charges that they gave Mark cannot stand without the robbery being proved. They never proved the robbery. So that's why the case needs to be open. The case needs to be open, out in the fresh air, and let fresh eyes see it. And let's see. Let's see that the courts do the right thing. But anyways, girl, we got all sidetracked. But the whole thing was that when Marcello went away, I was like, no, I don't care what he said. I don't care how many times he hit that desk, talking about 40, 40, 40. No, he's coming home. I got to figure out how to get him home. Now, for me, I thought his wrongful conviction was a mistake. This has got to be a mistake because I actually believed in the justice system myself blindly, like most of us. Most of us are blind to how the system really works, which is not really your fault, and it wasn't really my fault. That is the whole agenda. They could not do what they do if we were open eyed and watching what they were doing. That's why they have to keep us thinking that, hey, we're doing the right thing over here, y'all. Keep it moving. You don't have to worry about the system. System is keeping you safe. We're locking up the bad guys. It's keeping us safe. Like as long as you believe that nobody is trying to oversee them, nobody's looking over their shoulder like, are you truly convicting people the correct way? No, see, they don't want that. They want to continue to just, hey, hit that desk, life, hit that desk, 10 years, hit that desk. That's what they want to do. And they don't want you to put your nose nowhere in it. So I was thinking, this is a mistake. Like a mistake. We gonna fix this. I got to figure out who I got to talk to, what we got to do. Oh, we appeal. Okay, he gonna win this appeal because something went wrong and this and this and that. And we exhausted court remedies very quickly. They don't even see that stuff. They don't even, the public defender that did his appeal, public defender didn't even file anything. He said, I can't do anything. I don't have no money. It's nothing I can do. All he did was let me borrow Marcello's transcript, let me take it to the local print shop and print a copy. They didn't even give me the transcript free like they were supposed to. Marcello was supposed to be provided his first transcript free. He didn't get that. He didn't get nothing, 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 nothing. Everything else that he filed, I do have his motions that he filed. I would like to go through them with you guys so you can see, like, he really should have been granted, though. He shouldn't have been. Once I go with y'all through the transcript, you're gonna be like, nah, he shouldn't have been convicted. And then once I show y'all these motions, you're gonna be like, well, at this point, they should have seen that. No, they should have overturned that case. But as long as something stays sealed away in the darkness, they'll never make it right. It has to be brought to light. So I went on that thing. I was like, yeah, we got to get an appeal. Appeal was $10,000. I ain't have a dime to my name. I worked a minimum wage job. Made $5.15 an hour at Winn-Dixie. This was the year of 2002. So I got me a little better job working at KFC. So that was $2 more. So I think I made like $7.15 because I was a cashier. I had contemplated, all this is in my drama life. I had contemplated going to strip because I was like, I can get the money real quick. I had the body, I had everything for it. I was young, vibrant, beautiful. That ain't really what I wanted to do, but literally I had no choices. I needed to get the money to get him home. Girl, could never go through with it though. I used to go to auditions, circle the parking lot, never go in, and just, I was like, no, I can't do that. That's just not me. So I took my behind to hair school. I was always good at hair. I used to make money on top of money. If y'all seen any of my shorts, like y'all see my work. I'm really good at doing hair. I am extremely good at doing hair. I was the one that in cosmetology school, everybody would crowd around me to see what I'm doing and how did I do that. And I was always doing something new, fresh, different, nothing you ever seen. Like, but I got so far away from the hair industry. But girl, if I ever refreshed myself and got myself back up to date, and if these hands weren't going to bed like they was, girl, like for real. So I went through hair school, graduated state board quickly, and got in a salon, and that's when my hands completely, fully just went out. So I wasn't able to make that career as a cosmetologist. I ended up going to Walmart, working overnight, making somewhat decent money by the time I left Walmart due to slip and fall and them trying to. Oh, I was supposed to say Super Center. My bad. I never really say their name, but they fired me and basically told me, get on somewhere. So I had to start over. But at that point, I was making 14 something an hour. So I went all the way back down to minimum wage at this was year 2013. We're coming up on 10 years since my slip and fall and being fired because I hurt myself. Wrote up because I hurt myself. Like that sucks. But so I got a lawyer. The lawyer just was egging me along. I thought I was going to win the case because I'm injured, and I thought that I'd be able to have the money to get my husband that lawyer, and to get my life in order. But after my mother passed due to a negligence of a doctor, in between the time she passed and her funeral, that lawyer calls me and says, hey, I'm sorry. I'm thinking he calling me saying we getting a check, like check's about to be dispersed and this and this. No, he calls me and says, hey, I'm sorry. Now this is after 3 years and some months, because I only had 4 years before the statute of limitations with that slip and fall had been exhausted. He calls me 3 years and some months after being my lawyer and says, I can't represent you anymore. And I'm like, huh? Like he just was talking about $75,000. He was just talking about that. Not even the phone call before. He was like, "We about to close." Nobody really wants to litigate against this super company, but they were saying that they would settle, and it was talks of $75,000, right? So I'm like, oh, I could get Marcello that lawyer. Finally, this 2003, that's 11. No, I'm sorry. That was 2013. That was 11 years later. Um, so I'm like, I can afford the lawyer. Now I can go and fight that case. I can get myself back up on my feet. I had lost my job. I couldn't hardly work. I was injured. And I was a single mother. Uh, I've been through a storm, y'all. I've been through a storm. And so he calls me and says that, yeah, we're dropping your case because I looked at the video and I had never seen a video. How the jail you ain't seen the video in 3 years? You slipped in your dress. I'm like, no, I didn't. Slipped in my dress. What I had on a wedding dress? I ain't slipping no dress. I slipped on the water they had on the floor. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. You slipped in your dress. I'm like, I would like to see that. I know I ain't slipped in my dress, but I need to see what the heck you could have mistaken for me slipping in my dress. They send me the surveillance. They would not send me or release me the surveillance tapes from the front door that completely showed me falling in water you got on your floor. They send me pictures from a side view, like way far away, like that, like far away from customer service. And even from that far angle, you can still see me walking that door, standing as tall as I do, 5'5", and completely slipping and falling flat on my back and watching my head. You see my head bounce up and down like this, hitting the floor. He drops my case. Really, I could tell you in a whole nother story because this is supposed to be about spring break, but I'm just leading you up to um, just the whole struggle I went through, right? So he's like, yeah, but I'm dropping your case. So now I only have a few months because statute of limitations is going to be up. I call around, call around, call around. No lawyer is willing to take on that company. They're a mega company. You cannot come against them. It's very hard. Time is running out. I find another lawyer there. Yeah, sure, we'll take the case. We'll take the case. He holds it up another few months, and at the last minute, drops me as a client again. So my time runs out. They effed me up. And I got nothing but pain till I die, like injuries. So I leave, and I hated that job. I hated that job. I hated myself because I worked there. I wanted to not even live no more because I worked there. I did it. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. And it was, but it's like you get stuck. That's this matrix ish. You get stuck in situations because you don't have any other way to pay your bills. It's like we have to pay bills to live. You have to keep a place to stay. You got to keep food to eat. If you have a child, no matter about what you want, you got to take care of that child first, and everything else with you falls in line later. So don't matter how much I hate my job, I got a child to feed. So end up, I would have never left that place if they hadn't fired me for getting hurt. So end up, I went to work at a check cashing place, and they basically, the way my name is spelled, you would think I'm a Spanish Hispanic woman. But when I came in and I didn't really speak Spanish, and I wasn't, because that store was in a Spanish neighborhood, Hispanic neighborhood, I'm sorry. And it was a lot of Hispanic and Spanish speaking people coming in. So it was a lot of guests I couldn't attend to and stuff like that. And then I also had the injury, so I could not type. So I was not fast. I can do my job really good, but I cannot do it fast. If I do it fast, it irritates my injuries, and then it gets to the point where everything swells up, numbs up, and I can't do anything. So I have to pace myself. And companies are not like that. They want you to boom, 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 boom. We're machines. We're not human. We're machines. So they fire me. They tell me we highly suggest, like after a month, they highly suggest I turn in their uniform. So here now I am unemployed. I filed for unemployment. But after being at that job for 11 years, I could not get unemployment because they said that they never really fired me. I went from no write ups to slipping and falling, and now on my last write up. So they were writing me up for. So what do you call that if you're just writing me up for nothing and trying to kick me out the door? Well, they said that I should have allowed them to do the final step and just kick me out the door. So by me leaving after being wrote up for no reason but falling on your floor, um, they decided that I did not qualify for unemployment because I wasn't technically fired. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a child to feed. This was the first time in my life that I qualified for food stamps. So I had food stamps, I had cash assistance. I would have to do hours to get $150 of cash assistance per month. You heard me, $150 a month. And I did get quite a bit of food stamps then, and groceries wasn't as much. So this is my life setup when I went to that theme park in 2013. I never was trying to go work at a theme park. I was taking my cousin who was working, I was dropping him off, and on my way to dropping him off, that check cashing place called me and fired me. And told me they highly suggest I return the uniform because they will charge me for it. I'm like, God, life don't get no lower, do it? Okay, so my cousin was like, why don't you just come in and apply here? And I'm like, a theme park at this time? I'm 32 years old. A theme park? Are you kidding me? As old as I am, I came in there making half of what I made at the super center. No benefits, not even full-time status. When the seasons get low, they take you off the schedule. You don't make that much money. Um, but at that time, it was qualifying me for assistance. So I mean, I was barely making it, but I knew that was not what I wanted, you know. So my mother in 2016, so from 13 to 16, I just worked at the theme park, right? 2015, really, my mother graduated with her master's in business and walked across that stage. 6 months later, she passed away. But by that January, ah, they about to come in. Hope ain't nobody gonna make no noise. And I'm like, what do you mean what am I gonna? Everything that I'm doing is not really working. So this is what I'm gonna do. So I said, okay, I'm gonna go to school. So because I didn't really plan on going to school, but because I told my mom to go back to school, but I was already tired, depleted. It'll be a lot of, oh, I want was already tired, depleted. It'll be a lot of, oh, I want to, I'm going to, and then the day recycles itself, and you never do, never do, never do. Years go past, decades go past, and you're still in the same spot. So that's what's happening, and I didn't really want to go to school, but I because I said that it was like I had to. Okay, so I enrolled in school. I'm looking around. It's nothing but young people. So she was not even knowing. We worked with graphic design. We were Apple products and Apple computer illiterate. No, nothing in a computer. Like, you didn't have to do computer office work if you chose not. Came in knowing nothing, and also graphic design. I did not grow up with the internet, so I didn't really wasn't accustomed to how design look. I was stuck with the '90s design because that's the era I came up with. So I struggled all through school. Every assignment I have to let the teacher teach because I was get assignments. I was slower at it. But everything's dead. The projects are so intensive, have a lot of pieces. You have to hard I worked. They would basically like in graphic design, you have you they show it and everybody's like blank faces. They're like, why did you use that font? Why that color palette? Like, I thought the transition for an artist to a graphic designer was simple. No, they're completely different. The rules that apply as an artist are not the rules that apply as graphic design. Graphic design has to be a certain type of way to be fresh and modern and corporate. If you need it corporate, you have to kind of put an edge into it. And it's so now I kind of get it, like, but it took me longer. It took me much longer. I struggled. Anything lower than a C in class is failing. So there's many times I tried as hard as I could and I still failed. I had a high schooler, and then she became a college student with me. So as she was in high school, I'm planning her graduation, her prom, her everything. I'm working overnight in a laundry room at the theme park. Tired is sometimes 2 days that I don't get to sleep. Then I remember when I was in internship where I would work overnight. Then I would sleep in the parking lot, no matter how cold in the parking lot. Drive to my internship within like 2 hours later. Fall asleep in the corner at my internship. Get out my internship at 5 o'clock just to head back to work and sleep in the parking lot before my and web design at the same darn time. Um, Web design classes were on the East Campus where everybody was bougie. Like, girl, teachers was bougie too. They didn't want to teach. Like, a lot of them. So that's my eyes pick long in the future. It had to have got another plaque to put on your wall, but girl, go still clock in at your restaurant job that you could barely do because you're disabled, right? But it was 2020, so everything was going crazy. Like, I was about to crash and burn because, like I said, I was not sleeping. I was getting like 1 or 2 hours of sleep, not even together, 1 hour here, 1 hour there. I had a high schooler that was she was in everything. She was trying to get in college, so she wasn't old enough to volunteer, but she had to get volunteer hours to get her scholarship. Oh yeah, we got her a scholarship because your girl didn't never get to save any money for her to go to college, right? So we're going to everything for the scholarship. We're going to all of her things in high school. All we even did a senior skip day together. Like, I literally went with her and her friends to senior skip day, and I'm like, money, you are not supposed to bring your mama, but they all wanted me to come too. Like, that's crazy. So we were doing that. I was still working, still going up the road to see Marcello because that was around the time he had got transferred away from the house. He had been by the house like 7 years almost. And because, it's always something, but prison riot, they transferred him back up the road. It became super hard for me to travel that far because now I got this horrible sciatica. I would sit on ice freaking packs, have a portable charger to plug in my back massager as I'm driving these long roads. I was losing my eyesight. It was so, girl, what went wrong in my life? What wasn't wrong? Girl, and I had just lost my mama due to some bogus stuff. She didn't just die. Like, it was a lot. My God. Oh my God, when I look back. And I'm still alive. Are you kidding me? But so I was in internship. All of that was going on with money. And I was in college myself. I had to take, instead of two classes, I had to take three because my last teacher had failed me, and I don't understand. I got failed when I tried so freaking hard, but they were so critical. Like graphic design professors are, ooh, they'll chew you alive, like for real. And I guess it's just that tough love thing to prepare you for the real industry. Um, so it was crazy. I thought I was not gonna make it. So we got to spring break, right? And I think I still got that picture somewhere on my Facebook. And I took a picture outside the graphic design lab, and I started to realize that hey, my time here at college is finally ending. Y'all know I'm a over 20-year college student. In 2003. I had to drop out of my life that took me from 100 to zero real quick, caused me to get put out of school and all of that. And then also Marcello going to prison. Didn't have no babysitter, couldn't hardly make ends meet. Money was pushing the back then it was a typewriter, typing on the typewriter, messing up my messing up my little paper and stuff. That's why when princess do that when she on that laptop, I be like, oh, that was me. But so 2003, I think I dropped out of college. I had started in 2000. I dropped out in 2003, but I was only part time, so I hadn't made it that far. And I returned back in 2016 and finally graduated in 2020. Like, girl, that was a long. Who takes that long to do college? Nobody but me. But so I started taking it in, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm almost there. And I'm still at that point where I'm believing that once I finish college, that things are going to be finally different and better for me. I'm going to finally have a career rather than a job that depletes me and hurts me. And I'm creative. I started getting better in graphic design. Like my teachers were so amazed at the as you explain it. It doesn't make sense to me until it clicks one day and my assignments just started to skyrocket and I started getting much better grades. And they were like, oh my gosh. See, I was a person that either I hit or I missed. When you gave me a project to do, I either hit or I missed. Like there was no in between. So teachers was like, I know you got a lot of ideas. You have so many ideas, but it seems like you never quite finish it. And it was because of the slowness and too much going on in my life. Um, so I'm finally like looking around and like, this is almost over. Oh my God. Can you believe I made it? Like, girl. And I couldn't believe I'm my parents' mess up child. Like I never got nothing right. I always mess up. I always fumble. I always fall. And my mother's child that never got nothing right was finally graduating. Like that's so crazy to me. I knew she was looking down, smiling and proud, but now I'm like, is she looking down and like, Kia, get it together? So, anyways, go to spring break and I'm trying to relax. It's a lot of things going on. I think we still had a big project. It was, but and then me and Money had spring breaks at different time. No, by then, Money was in college. She had got in college, so we had the same spring break. So I try to relax. I don't get to do a lot of relaxing. I'm everybody's person, go-to person. Anytime anybody has a problem, they run straight to me. I'm like, you done ran past Jesus. Like, why don't you pray as much as you ask me for help? Like, I help everybody. But then when it's time for me to need help, like nobody's there to help me at all. We had just moved during that time, or I was about to move. I packed. I lived on the third floor, and much. But and guess what? I never returned back to campus. Spring break turned into something called Zoom classes. Nobody knew what a freaking Zoom was. Nobody knew I had. Girl, that is so crazy. I was in my last semester and the whole world's crashing and burning. Their senior graphic designers getting fired. That, so now